A rich, young businessman was under pressure from his parents to get married. Good old 38. All tits are beautiful. Which one had the nicest tits? I need to know. Dumb. Take the third one and give her a boob job. Problem solved. The version I know ends with him marrying the one who swallows. First one? If the joke is that all he cares about is how she looks, doesn't the first one using the money trying to fix her appearance sort of ruin the punchline? Emo. The only way this works is if you change what she spends it on to something unrelated, so as to keep the flippant punchline. She could spend it on going to classes or something to further her mind for him, for example. All surveys are biased in favor of those willing to take surveys. This is literally one of the first things you learn in any stats class. Yes, but many university official studies will force students to take a poll as part of a class. I remember having to participate in like 5 different psychological studies in university as part of my freshman psychology class. The studies were mostly PhD students who needed a certain amount of data points. Regardless, you had to do them to pass the class. The majority of people, something like 85, won't agree to take a poll. So polls reflect the opinions of the slim majority of people who will. Hillary 99 to win lol NY times. Recruiting survey participants is an important part of survey research design. That's why a lot of surveys are paid, sometimes very well paid depending on who you are surveying. Considering how predictable it is, it's amazing how curious we are to see other people naked. It's not that predictable. The variety in nipples alone, for example, is astounding. The only predictable thing about me asking to see another person naked is the response I get. I have seen naked women lots of times. I haven't seen that specific woman naked. I've seen my wife naked a million times. But I still stop and stare when she takes her clothes off every single time. Eating bacon is predictably yummy, but that doesn't stop most of us meat eaters from eagerly lining up for it at the buffet. When man invented fire, he didn't say, "Hey, let's cook." He said, "Great, now we can see naked bottoms in the dark." The big picture is predictable, but not the details. Smiley face. We evolved to see nude bodies in person a lot more often than we do today, often non-sexually. We shouldn't be seeing so many in total online though. For something we use twice per day every day, toothpaste tubes are almost criminally small. Dude, how much toothpaste are you using? Gotta manage your nerdle, you nerd. You might be using too much lol. Or maybe you live with a bunch of people that all share? Because my tube lasts like a year and I wouldn't want it to be any bigger. Do I need more than a year of toothpaste right at the sink? My partner and I share one for months. How much are you using? Those are travel sizes, my guy. This sub is getting so dumb, I'm out of here. Look at this guy who doesn't have to lie to his dentist. Dude. A tube of toothpaste lasts for months. Plural. I guarantee you're using way too much. This is true, but really you don't need as much toothpaste as you think. A pea-sized amount is plenty. As most have said, you only need a tiny amount. But for those with curious minds, the toothpaste put on the brush has a name. It is called a nerdle. Green eyes are far more prevalent in novels than in the general population. As far as I know, green eyes are unknown in African and Asian populations. They, like blue eyes, evolved in Europe. So the frequency of green eyes odd much more than 2 amongst Europeans. Maybe Op is just reading novels set in Europe. Someone with green eyes here. Skill issue. Seems like somebody is envious, and we know what kind of monster envy is. If you go by statistics, then the most common name in the world would be Mohammed Wang. I can't say that I have ever in my life met one, although I did meet a guy named Mohammed Zwang. 100 of the people that are me have green eyes. I don't see a problem. This shower thought pretty much achieved in summoning green-eyed people. I'm one. Apparently 98 commenters here have green eyes, or these are AI bots trained on main characters in novels. Same goes for redheads. Big Trouble in Little China. Guy walks into a store. I like it. First time I've heard it. How does a woman hold her liquor? By the back of his head. He was probably looking for Skittle Brow. Grown. I used to love those chocolate bottles with the liquor inside. Love this joke. Bourbon balls are awesome. Hospital workers of Reddit. What happens there that's hidden but that we should know about? An ambulance ride is not a one-way ticket to the front of the line. You still get triaged and could be rolled right to the waiting room if you're non-emergent. Sometimes when people die, we just put an oxygen mask on them and wheel them through the corridors. Less distressing for other patients and visitors to think they are asleep rather than see a body with a sheet over it. I am an ICU nurse. I had a patient who was declared brainstem dead. The family did not want him to become an organ donor, so we withdrew treatment. I switched off the ventilator, pumps etc. and extubated the patient. A few moments later the patient displayed Lazarus sign, which is a reflex that causes the patient to raise their arms in the air. I was by no means new to the role, but this really scared me as I had never even heard of it, let alone witnesses it. I have tattoos on my shoulder, and when people are sad, I let them color them in. I don't get it. Could someone paint me a picture? I had an inkling that would be the punchline. You really put this joke together well. It drew me in. Needless to re a good person. You my friend are truly a person of color. Color me impressed. Hey dad, you need lotion if crayon takes on your skin. You really helped me to connect the dots. I can't picture a TBH. I would be tickled pink. Musical notes, put your red on my shoulder. Musical notes, color me surprised. That's good, smiley face. Everyone, please upvote the joke. Don't just brush it off. You'll need to sketch out how this works. Don't press those crayons too hard or you'll have a chip on your shoulder. I think my girlfriend is a 10, but she says she knows she's really a 2. I once asked my wife if I'm the only one she has ever slept with. She thought for a minute and said yes. Everyone else was at least a 5. There are 10 types of people in the world. Those that understand binary and those that don't. Why you dating a 10-year-old? So she thinks she's hotter than you think she is? Algebraians are non-binary. They are decimal. Too good for 10. FBI be watching this thread. Tut tut. You know the rule. You're only allowed to be romantic with girls who are older than half your age. 111. I don't get it. If they are non-binary, they shouldn't be a 2? And also they wouldn't be referred to as she normally? I've never fucked a 10, but one night I fucked 5 2s. I think that out of count. I want you to have this. I misread the title for I want you to have tits. Semi-serious question: if I wear a DNR bracelet, will paramedics refrain from intervening when it's an obvious accident, misadventure type of situation, swimming pool or similar? I understand it. A DNR status is usually only chosen for terminal end-of-life states. Or am I mistaken? I don't get it. My recently deceased friend gave me his EpiPen as he was dying. I don't know what it does, but it seemed really important to him that I have it. Rule 34 states if it exists, there is porn of it. No exceptions. What is something you're pretty confident is an exception? Anytime someone asks this question, porn is immediately made of the answers. So, Rule 35 comes in. If there isn't any porn of it, there will be. Me. Isn't Rule 36 that if something found not following Rule 34 then porn must be made of it immediately? I know a fishing game where the main character is a girl with no Rule 34 of it. Margaret Thatcher and the broken ice cream machine at McDonald's. I'm already horrified at the things that are about to be corrupted forever. Mari's crane. Cheese-flavored creatine powder. Ocean Gate submarine. Till Che Guevara's executioner, Mario Duran, was a 27-year-old Bolivian sergeant who, while half-drunk, requested to shoot him because 3 of his friends, all named Mario, had been killed days earlier by Guevara's band of guerrillas. So he was killed by one of the Mario brothers? Mario? I shot you 3 times already. The reports of my death are greatly exaggerated. So he was killing in the name of this. A for you and Mario, and A for you and Mario, and A for you and Mario. Chess last words were I hope I don't end up on a t-shirt. The headline is a little misleading. It wasn't like some half-drunk guy went and shot him. There were orders from the Bolivian president to execute Guevara. Mario Duran is just the guy who volunteered to carry out the orders. Of course a guy named Mario wouldn't be a socialist. He works for the monarchy as a demo guy and arsonist and eats the heads off of poor people. Till Ford's first car, a 1903 Model A with an original price of $850, sold at auction in 2012 for $264,000. This specific car was the third 1903 Model A made by Ford and is the oldest known surviving Ford car. The buyer was William Clay Ford Jr., the great-grandson of Ford founder Henry Ford. Seems pretty cheap for a 109-year-old, oldest surviving and third Ford car ever made. No fucking discount? Would never pay that much for a car with no backup camera, or windows. It's wild how much like a carriage it looks. No roof walls, the steering wheel is in the middle of the car, the horn is just a fucking horn, lol, padded seats, etc. Amazing that it still even exists. The curiosity in me does wonder what happened to the very first and second somewhere? In an unknown storage garage? Incinerated? Till Genghis Khan was responsible for destroying the Order of Assassins. You come at the Khan, you best not miss. So that's what really happened to Ezio. The Khan's got M. He didn't have no Jinsekai on his side. Genghis was dead for a while by the time Alamut fell. It was actually his grandson, Hulaku, who destroyed the assassins, the same Hulaku who would then sack Baghdad in 1258. Another hand is at work here. The Pope? The assassins? Assassins? I thought the Mongol Khans broke their power decades ago. The assassins are far older than Miss Yoff, my friend. Their anarchic delusions are virulent as the plague, and less easily eradicated. The Mongol vs. Order of Assassins War. Is Assassin's Creed based on this Order of Assassins? He paid them to kill all his mistresses, and they died of exhaustion. Till Winston Churchill had a doctor's note to drink unlimited alcohol in Prohibition America 1932. I mean, Churchill was a well-known drinker. He did not approve of prohibition and considered it a violation of personal freedom. He also believed that alcohol was beneficial for his health and well-being. He once said, "I have taken more out of alcohol than alcohol has taken out of me." When Churchill met with King Abdulaziz ibn Saud, he was told that due to religious reasons, it was unacceptable to drink or smoke in the presence of the monarch. Churchill replied that his religion prescribed as an absolute sacred right smoking cigars and drinking alcohol before, after and if need be during all meals and the intervals between them. It's business drunk, so it doesn't count. It's like rich drunk, either way it's legal to drive. Till that Buddy Lewis, MLB player, World War II pilot, was told to carry a cake of cocaine in his pocket because if he crashed, the natives loved the stuff would get him out of the jungle to safety. It's always funny to be having something to barter when you're all out of options. Like they're gonna kill him and he's like, "Wait, I have coke," and they're like, "Fuck, now we have to help him so we can get the coke, it's the only way." Wouldn't this apply anywhere? Is that the story he was going to tell the cops? I've never heard it referred to as a cake of cocaine, but it makes it sound very enticing. One cake of cocaine please. Most people love cocaine. Till that in just 20 months, 3 campaigning seasons, the Roman Republic lost 1/5, 150,000 of the entire male population of citizens over 17 years of age during the Second Punic Wars 218–201 BC. That one-legged dude in town was like, "Sup ladies, how you doing? I really can't go a day without thinking about the Romans. I've tried." 1/5? That's 2 decimations. Hannibal was that good? People act like the Roman Empire's secret sauce was engineering, or organization. But in reality it was sheer stubborn. A shonen anime protagonist who gets to lose 3 times, they just didn't stay down. A third of that figure were killed in just one battle. Well, they were either killed or killed themselves because they knew they were going to die either way and decided it was better to suffocate yourself in the sand than to be butchered with a spear. There it is, my daily dose of Roman Empire. Still, the sun loses over 4 million tons of mass every second as energy, and yet enough mass to burn for an extra 4 billion years. And we can only harness a tiny percentage of all of its radiant glory. Why haven't we upgraded it to LED? Almost no energy wasted as heat. I had a gigantic book of random facts when I was a kid around 30 years ago. I always remembered one page about the sun, saying it used something like 300,000 truckloads worth of fuel every second. It used to give me anxiety that the sun was going to run out, even though we'd been taught in school that it's good for several billion more years yet. I remember working this out for a high school exam question based on the intensity of light and lumens shining on a square meter of the Earth's surface at the equator, discounting negligible atmospheric effects. That was a fun question. Took half a page to answer. Sometimes I just stare at the sun and I'm in awe. Or 0.25 of ops. We are Kelly and Zach Weinersmith, authors of A City on Mars, about the strange science, history, and law of space settlement. Ask us anything. I'm reluctantly sold on the idea that we're unlikely to colonize Mars within my lifetime. There are too many scientific and technical challenges and not enough money spent on solving the meteoric growth of the private space industry. Do you foresee the industry evolving to the point where it makes economic sense for them to solve those challenges, such as closed biospheres or the long-term effects of low gravity? Is it intelligent or possible to have an ecology on Mars without any parasites? On the one hand, I'm betting it would be nice to grow or raise food without them. On the other hand, I'm not aware of any ecologies without them, which makes me suspect they're needed in ways I'm not aware of. Well, that's a fooing coincidence. She has crabs? And she's dumb too. So doctor, you saying my husband of many years has given me crabs? Well, what a fucking coincidence. I'm a Cancer too. Anyway, you have lupus. If she doesn't believe in doctors, why did she go to one? She is a Capricorn. Why did you put the punchline in the title? Spoiler alert. What a coincidence. What adult film actress's popularity astounds you? Not a specific actress, but there's a lot of amateur stuff made by average-looking couples with a lot of views, and I'm trying to explain to my GF that we could be making money if she let me wear the GoPro on my forehead. I'm just here to see the replies for potential new material. Mia Khalifa. Always in the top 10 on Pornhub, but didn't have that long of a career. Cream Pie Kathy. It's not that she is unattractive per se, but definitely in more of a senior category. She fucks next to young, hot ladies and they pick her more often than not. A friend told me all this. Took me scrolling for a minute to realize that I hadn't read the word adult in the question the first go round. I was like, Mia, okay, This guy is funny lol. Sarah J, don't know who that is. Oh, she's got lopsided titties, hang on. Edit a word. What fact do you know that makes people why the FCK? Do you know that delivery drivers ring the bell twice at the gates of Nevada brothels so the ladies know it isn't a customer? They don't waste their time getting into a lineup. You know how in the movies, when someone dies with their eyes open, their buddy just runs their hand over the dead person's eyes and closes? That doesn't work in real life. You have to grab the eyelid and yank that sucker down like you're closing blinds. It's gross, and often it still doesn't close them completely. People that die from CO poisoning turn bright red. I had all the world capitals memorized for a while there. Made me feel really smart when I asked people to quiz me. What's capital of Myanmar? Naypyidaw. Why do you know that? Sometimes a male octopus will tear off their dick and throw it at a female so it can go fuck itself. What is something that happens at casinos that is hidden from the public? I wandered down to the basement of MGM from a truck ramp, and man, it was like a whole city down there. Imagine a massive warehouse with roads and offices and supplies everywhere. The opposite of the glitz going on above it. Old people dying, all the seats they have to replace because of the shockingly high number of PPL that evacuate their bladders and bowels in them. My aunt worked at one in Palm Springs, and she said they basically had a room full of extra stools. Old people were sure they were about to hit, and they'd just piss and shit themselves instead of giving up their machine. When the MGM Grand opened in Las Vegas, you walked through a giant lion's mouth to get to the front door. Many Asian gamblers saw it as a sign of bad luck so they wouldn't go in. Now it's a smaller statue. Who's the idiot? Who's? Adam told this joke to Eve. What was the point he was trying to make? Also, the title Who's the Idiot is pretty ironic. Also snide. The professor could say it snidely or he could say it in a snide voice, but he can't do both. That was the only class he didn't pass that semester. Good old 24. Okay WHOs, I have seen so many worse mistakes on jokes that it's almost laughable. Take condiments on this thread is great.